Denyo. Oh, what a dang. This is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonemo, and I am
the taxi driver.
Not too waste about them, take them and be brother, and it's time now to put fire in the wire. Now this is the Black Pot, aka Kukushonemo. Here we don't criticize. It's all service to God and man. No two ways about them think them, man. My brother, my sister, here we don't criticize, but if we must criticize, we'll do it on one condition: to build and not to destroy. That is why we say we are in the service of God and country. No two ways about them think them, man. My brother, my sister, today we have a number of issues I need us to look at, and without wasting any time, let's go straight into the action. Now the very first story I'm looking at today is coming from Ghana Web, and it says, I never said Ghana cards can be used to buy cars. And this is Baumia clarifying. I read, Vice President of Ghana, Dr. Mahmoud Baumia, has clarified his recent comments on the credit scoring system in Ghana. He has explained that he was taken out of context on the matter, indicating that I was making a statement that one of the things that we don't have currently in Ghana is a credit scoring system that the referencing agency will normally do. Now, the statement I made, of course, was taken out of context, and some people even disagreed with that statement, saying we don't have such an individualized credit system in Ghana, he added. Dr. Baumia, who was speaking at the Ghana Investment Promotion Center GIPC Awards ceremony Friday, December 8, 2023, said, but now with the corporation, with the central bank, we are very close to introducing an individualized credit scoring system in Ghana next year, which allows us to differentiate risk from individuals. And that was the sense which I said that an individualized scoring system would have the Ghana card as the anchor, because it is a unique identifier for everybody, and that will allow credit to be more accessible to all of these companies here, who will then be able to offer credit to many consumers. My brother, my sister, with all respect, with all decency, I would like to quote an African proverb. It says that the idiot seems wise when he's quiet. The idiot seems wise when he's quiet. In the case of Baumia, unfortunately, he doesn't want to keep quiet. And anytime Baumia opens his mouth to talk, he proves to us that he's that idiot that we put in there as a vice president. And this is without apology. Look at this guy. Now, can you differentiate the thinking of this guy from the thinking of the slave master who came in and all he did with us was to push us into debt and into parochial minds? Now, the mindset that a lot of Ghanaians have is actually a legacy from colonialism. Should I go deeper into this? Baumia comes out to tell us that a certain Ghana card is better than 200 roads that could be built. And these are not normal roads, but flyovers. Baumia comes to tell us that there's a certain magic card called the Ghana card that could afford you food, my brother, my sister, almost for free. Baumia comes to tell us that there's a certain magic card, aka the Ghana magic card, that we could use to travel around the world without the need for a passport. Some Ghanaians tried it and they were embarrassed to the core. Today, the same Baumia comes to tell us that this Ghana card can afford us cars on credit. And when we asked him to clarify and tell us by what magic he's going to use to get that done, he comes back to tell us a certain thing that he himself does not understand. Credit scoring system, scoring credit system scoring credit, confusing himself and confusing everybody. My brother, it is sad that we voted these people into power. The more Baumia speaks, the more idiocy we see flowing in the atmosphere. I'm not insulting him. An idiot is an idiot. Unfortunately, we do not have any euphemism for an idiot. I am hurt as a Ghanaian. Look at Baumia. All he can think about for Ghanaians is credit. Because his government is a specialized credit system. This government, my brother, my sister, has no ideas except credit. Borrow, 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 borrow. Borrow your way to hell. Borrow, 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 borrow. Borrow everything that is borrowable. That is what this government is doing. And Baumia is a figment, in fact, the perfect figment of the imagination of this dirty government in power. It hurts me. Growing up, my father told me, my son, credit has never been good for me. Borrowing has never been good for me. If you are truly my son, borrowing will never be good for you. Run away from it. You should go for it only when it is a case of between life and death. And when I took his advice, I have never been a victim of credit and borrowing. I tried it, my brother, my sister, some time ago. And I almost found myself in the biggest ditches. Friends who know me very well will tell you, Blakk Rasta hates borrowing. I do not want to owe anybody. I can go several days hungry and I will not eat. It is better for me to go hungry than to go about borrowing, so that anything new that comes already has been spent before it even comes. And that is the bedrock on which this nation was built by this dirty government and other governments that came and went back to hell. Look at Baumia, Wale Adam Smith, my brother, my sister. And all he can tell you is credit, credit, credit. Borrow, 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 borrow. Borrow your way back to hell. No wonder they are always knocking on the doors of the IMF and the World Bank. No wonder, my brother, my sister, every now and then you hear them playing puppets to the World Bank and the IMF. Any white man who comes into this country, they see him as a god. After all, he has dollars in his pocket to donate to this ill-governed nation. My brother, my sister, I am ashamed of this vice president. I am ashamed of the president. I am overly ashamed of this government in power. All they have done, my brother, my sister, is to come and borrow, 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 borrow. Any idiot can borrow if that is what governance is all about. Shame on you, Baumia. Shame on you again. And shame again for the third time. Ghana card, credit scoring system, individualized credit scoring system will afford you the chance to go and borrow. And when you borrow, and at the end of the day, it's all about the Ghana card, the individualized borrowing system, which is a mechanized, individualized mechanism of a parabolated economical system of macro and macroeconomics. He said nothing. Absolutely. All he's telling you is that go and borrow. We are making it possible for you to borrow like we are borrowing, so that you will put yourself into heavy debt. And at the end of the day, you will be a slave to those you are borrowing from. What is the importance of your independence then? I leave it here. Next thing I want to look at, that I need you to come with me, it's another serious issue. And I know everybody will be interested in this. Now I am reading this one, and it's coming from the same Ghana web. It says 30 million Ghana cedi leaked memo on OSP's vehicles was deliberate. And this is Eduji Tamaklo. I read. Now, Edoji Tamaklo is the head of legal affairs of the NDC. His full name is Godwin Edoji Tamaklo. I had the opportunity to meet him once, my brother, my sister, and we had a conversation where we met briefly at the Kumasi airport. I think that was last year. And let's listen to what he says. Now, the head of legal affairs of the National Democratic Congress, NDC, Godwin Edoji Tamaklo, has said that the 30 million Ghana cedi worth of vehicles requested by the Office of the Special Prosecutor at the Ministry of Finance was deliberate. According to him, the leak is an intentional effort by some persons within the government to discredit the Anti-Corruption Office's authority. This comes after a Ghana Web report on December 10, 2023 that the request of 30 million Ghana cedi worth of vehicles was made by the OSP to the Ministry of Finance. Now, the request made by the OSP listed 4 types of armored plated vehicles and 12 types of soft light body vehicles. The total amount of the vehicles requested came up to 29,952,000 Ghana cedis. Speaking on Accra-based TV3 on December 11, 2023, the NDC Legal Affairs head pointed out the contradiction in President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo's endorsement of the OSP head, Ejaping, while some of the appointees allegedly work against the very office set up to combat corruption. I leave it here, my brother. My brother, my sister, 2 things I want to say right now. The President of the Republic of Ghana said he will put his presidency on the line to fight corruption. 2, I will put my government, my presidency on the line to fight galamsey. So it's corruption and galamsey. Mr. President said he would put his presidency on the line to fight these ills of the nation, corruption and galamsey. Number 2, it might come out as a deliberate distraction to pull people away from the good works of the OSP. But that still remains a fact that the OSP, the Office of the Special Prosecutor, demanded vehicles worth almost 30 million Ghana cedis. This is crazy. Now the OSP is doing a good job. Much as is going through a lot of frustrations. I must also say that this is an extravagant OSP. Very extravagant. Do we all remember how much he wanted as salaries for the people that he was working with? Do we all remember the figure? Today, it has come out that it is not only about huge salaries, but also about a 30 million Ghana cedi worth of vehicles that the OSP requested to be able to fight corruption. You do not even know your country. How pathetic this country is. How this nation is stealing from itself. How this nation has no respect for the heritage of the nation. My brother, you've been asked to come and fight corruption. We appreciate the work you are doing. You sent in a request of vehicles worth 30 million Ghana cedis. Are you crazy? What's wrong with you? The nation is seriously hemorrhaging. The nation is seriously in crisis. Come in and do the little that you can do. Do you need 30 million Ghana cedi worth of vehicles to be able to run? Can I take you back to the days of Sankara? When Sankara came into office, he banned all public offices from using luxury cars. Everybody, my brother, my sister, was supposed to use a simple car. Brother, my sister, very, very small, no air conditioning, and it could run on very little fuel, including himself. He banned all public offices from using air conditions. they should use natural air. It wasn't because they didn't enjoy comfort, but it was because of the dire need of the nation, the impoverished nation, to be able to deal with the calamity. Now, if you are coming in and you agree that the nation is so impoverished because of these dirty people who are stealing left, right, and center, corruption galore, that has given you a job to be able to deal with corruption, and you come in and you are making such extravagant demands. What is the difference between you and the people who do not think about the nation? OSP wanted vehicles worth 30 million Ghana cedis, and there's somebody defending him. It's okay. Yes, he needs it to do his work. He needs what? Do we know the difference between need and want? Magufuli, who died recently, president of Tanzania, banned every other person, my brother, my sister, from flying first class, let alone chartered. Everybody must go economy. And that ministers at an event should not be more than 4. Maximum 4. My brother, my sister, these are all ways to fight corruption, and also with fighting wastage, you need some of these things. An OSP who wants to be lavished with all kinds of luxury, it's not a good OSP. I respect the work that the OSP is doing. I like what the OSP is doing. He's been able to achieve something, even though he's been frustrated so many times. But I beg to differ, sir. From when the OSP started demanding huge salaries for his workers and employing people left, right, and center without recourse to permission, and even if it's not even permission, some kind of endorsement. My brother, my sister, I started to cringe. Today it has come out that we have hired an extravagant OSP. 30 million Ghana cedis worth of cars. What is the difference between you and the dirty politicians who are all driving in V8s and borrowing and stealing from the nation? We need a humble OSP. An OSP who is ready, my brother, my sister, to work under very difficult conditions, push away all luxury to see the nation rise. Who cannot fight corruption with 30 million Ghana cedis worth of vehicles? Even Atayi can fight corruption with that. Who cannot fight corruption with heavy amounts of money as salaries? Even Atayi. And the guy in Kumasi, Prophet Kusi something. He can also fight corruption. My brother, my sister, if he's giving 30 million Ghana cedis worth of cars. OSP, I'm truly disappointed. And those supporting this, are you telling me when Mahama comes into power, is the same thing he's going to do? Give OSP 30 million Ghana cedis worth of cars. Hefty salaries for the workers. He can employ as many people as he wants. Indiscretionary. My brother, my sister, OSP is not an office of luxury. That is why Alamisi Hamidu failed. And today he cannot come to reality with the terms of his failure. Let us be ready to sacrifice for our nation. Let us all go hungry to see the nation grow. Let us all go hungry to see our nation grow. It is not time to grow for pot bellies. You are called into office does not mean called into luxury. You are called into difficulties to be able to make Ghana a better place to live. Shame on you. My brother, my sister, it looks like I've run out of time, but let's see if we can do one more thing before we go. Now, this is what I'm reading from Ghana Web, and it says, no debt treatment deal with creditors. No 600 million tranche. And that's the IMF talking to Ghana. The IMF is the master. The World Bank is the king. Anything they want to do with us, they do with us. Now, the IMF boss, Kristalina Georgieva, has come all the way to speak the president. Mr. President, the $600 million tranche that we're supposed to give to you, we are not giving it to you because you have no debt treatment deal with your creditors. For that matter, you are not getting it. My brother, what kind of a nation is this? Whose loins are tied to credit, borrowing. Vice President is still preaching the mantra of borrowing. Are you that useless? Now when the IMF says jump, all you can say is how high. You can never fight the IMF. The IMF has sent somebody all the way from Switzerland to sit in our finance office to control affairs in this nation. Are we truly independent, or is a mockery of an independence? Oh, what a shameless people. Oh, what a shameless people. To God be the glory. We shall remain behind to lead the blind. This is our nation. We are ready to go hungry to see this nation grow. We are ready to put our heads on the chopping board for our necks to be chopped off, for the nation to grow in peace. If this is the only way the nation will grow. I will return at exactly 12:40 for the African history class. In the interim, it's time for